to order the May 11th, 2021 Board of Education meeting. If I can have a roll call, please.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Callahan-Wozniak?
Here.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Present.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Present.
Mr. Ewing?
Here. I would like, the board previously met in closed session under exception C1, specific personnel, C11, pending litigation, and C21, approval of previous closed session minutes. I would like a motion to go into open session.
Mr. Riddle, so moved.
Motion by Mr. Riddle,
Second.
Second.
second by, I believe that was Mr. McBride. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Callahan-Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes. All right, we are now in open session, and we are going to Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Riddle, if you'd be so kind.
Yes, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first on the agenda is our special recognition and presentations. And so we have Friend of Waukegan Public Schools, and that's Bravo Waukegan.
For the last 10 years, Bravo Waukegan's mission has been to foster academic, artistic, and personal growth in students, provide any necessary resources to achieve that growth, and ultimately help build a stronger Waukegan community through music. In the spring of 2020, Bravo created a new program, Raise the Bar. With help from NPR's From the Top, the Back to Back Project, and Carthage College, this program offered individual mentorships from accomplished professional musicians. Using virtual lessons, students observed, explored, and created music. Raise the Bar helps support students' lifelong success through music by offering a pathway to higher education and personal development. Bravo Buddies Summer Music Camp offers students a chance to learn one-on-one with skilled teachers and attend workshops, performances, and field trips. To ensure that students and teachers did not lose out on these essential learning opportunities, we made some changes for summer 2020. To adapt to quarantine regulations, Bravo offered virtual lessons twice a week and hosted virtual events with talented guest musicians. With the support and generosity of the James and Madeline McMullen Family Foundation, Bravo created an online music library with the help of elementary and high school music teachers. The goal was to make this relevant and useful to students and their teachers. The Bravo Music Library provides free access to music, videos, news, and more, which allows for student exploration of music diversity. Offering programs digitally and creating resources that are accessible through Chromebook or laptop has been a major focus of Bravo. We are grateful for the district's impact and the use by teachers, encouraging students to engage with these online offerings. Thank you.
Know many of you. I founded Bravo Waukegan along with my husband 10 years plus ago. And it started so small, and now we're reaching thousands of your children one way or another. I think it's now up to 7,000 a year, and well, each week really, during a normal school year. And it is been a joy and a pleasure. Honestly, you can't imagine what it has brought to me personally. And I feel that Bravo's goal has always been education. And we have felt that one of the easy, affordable, and possible ways was through music. All of the research is proving that, and it is without a doubt that is one of the ways that they can learn academically, learn the most easily. So that's where why our enthusiasm for Bravo Waukegan has continued. And I'd like to introduce the president of Bravo now, Glenn Roberts.
Thank you very much, Pat. It's a pleasure to meet all of you in person. I've been involved with Bravo for 3+ years, and it's an absolute honor to be leading the board of directors for Bravo. Under Pat's wonderful, inspirational leadership, I've gotten to know the organization, our mission, along with our executive director, Carrie Walker, who's not available tonight. We continue to pursue objectives to raise educational opportunities for students in Waukegan by the numerous programs, some of which were highlighted in this video. And we always find a wonderful acceptance and enthusiasm for the mission when we talk to the people in the community and in the northern suburbs. So we look forward to continuing to provide the programs. Our summer camp, Bravo Buddies, which has been one of our flagship programs, is well underway for the planning. And like last year, will be presented virtually for quite a few students that have loved the program, and we have our staff lined up and ready to do that. The music library that was featured in the video as well is an ongoing resource that we continue to update and try to keep relevant and fresh through our website. So we are here. We really appreciate the relationship with the district and your staff, and most particularly the students that we support, and will continue to do so. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to being with you in the future.
Thank you.
On behalf of Waukegan Public Schools and the Board of Education, we want to thank Bravo. During the height of the pandemic, Ms. Sakarowski, reached out and they wanted to meet, and we did so via Zoom. And the first question that she asked was, how can we help? And that has been the partnership that we've had with Bravo since the existence of the program. So we appreciate you, we appreciate Bravo, and thank you for your continued support of Waukegan Public School students.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. So we have the approval of the minutes for the open session meeting, item 7A. Approval of the minutes of the open session meeting of March 9th, 2021. Ms. Hannah is requesting that we take both minutes together. I have no objection. So do we have a motion to approve items 7A and B?
I make a motion that we approve items 7A and B.
And seconded by Ms. Wozniak. Any comments, questions? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Cahan Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes, minutes approved, motion carries. We approved item 7A for the meeting of March 9th, 2021, and item B, minutes from April 28th, 2021. Now we have our opportunity for public comment. I do have the public comment sheet. When I call your name, please come up to the microphone. Anyone who wants to speak, you get 3 minutes. If you need translation services will be provided to you. We do ask that you refrain from listing staff or student names during your comments. With that, the first name that we have on the list, and the only name this evening, is Mr. Pat Vukovich, or I'm sorry, Ms. Pat Vukovich.
Hi, I'm here tonight to encourage the board to vote no on the consent agenda item 9C, which will increase the TRS IMRF markup and health care contributions for all assistant directors, coordinators, and academic chairs. This approval will cost over $325,000 taken out of the education fund. In other words, these administrators will be rewarded with taxpayer monies covering more of their retirement and health care costs than we already pay for them. When Mr. Ewing explains the purpose of the consent agenda, he says it helps to keep the board meetings from being too lengthy and that items on it are non-controversial and have been discussed before the vote. The reasoning behind this expenditure has not been discussed publicly, and it has a large sum coming from the Ed Fund. Therefore, it should not be on the consent agenda. If it was discussed in closed session, that is a violation of the Open Meetings Act. This large amount of money should be used to hire more support personnel who work directly with students for the 2021-22 school year. The school board members have frequently expressed concerns about the learning loss that District 60 students have suffered during the COVID pandemic. All monies from the education fund should be spent on teachers and support personnel who will work directly with students who have endured great challenges this past year. Hire extra social workers to help students overcome the social, emotional challenges. Hire more teachers to decrease class size in the younger grades to give students more one-on-one support. Hire more paras to support the classroom teachers as they work to catch students up on their early reading skills. You are setting a precedent by using more funds than are necessary out of the Ed Fund for benefits for employees who do not directly work with students. When the millions of dollars from the COVID relief come to the district, I fear that next the board members will approve more perks for upper administration, when I'm sure the intent of this relief money is for it to be spent on the students, not the adults. Your no vote tonight will be a vote for the children who have been through so much this past year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vukovich. There are no other names on the public comment list. So now we are at our consent agenda. So the consent agenda is done in order to expedite the work of the board. These items should be considered non-controversial and have been previously discussed. So we do have item A, approval of the consent agenda. Any board member can request that any item be held over for any reason. So is there any board member that would like to hold and vote on any of these consent agenda items separately?
Yes.
Go ahead, Ms. Anna.
I would like to vote on item C separately, as well as item E.
Okay, so Ms. Hannah is asking that we vote on items C and E separately. Are there any other board members who want to hold over and vote on separately any other items? With that, we're going to be acting for a motion to approve item 9A, B, D, and F.
To approve those items, A, B, D, E, and F.
D and F.
D and F, not E.
Yep. So we have a motion to approve items A, B, D, and F.
D
Do
and
we
F.
have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Wozniak. Any comments or questions on the motion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Callahan-Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes, items are approved. Now we're going to go to item 9C, Assistant Directors, Coordinators, Academic Chair, and I'm sorry, let me read what those were. We approved item 9A, approval of 6 Lulu Rippinger scholarships and 1 Alan Larson Music Memorial scholarships. Item B, approval of ELB STEM furniture purchase through the EIR grant. Item D, condensate vacuum system replacement at WHS Washington campus. And item F, approval to attend Zenigale Virtual Professional Development for Abbott teacher Denise Dunlap for May 14, 2021 through May 17, 2021. All right, now we're going back up for item 9C, Assistant Directors, Coordinators, Academic Chair Level Entitlements. Superintendent?
It is a recommendation of the Operation of Division that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to increase TRS, IMRF, makeup, and healthcare contributions equal to director level entitlements for all assistant director coordinators and academic chairs.
Mr. Riddle, I so move that we approve that motion as recommended.
Motion by Mr. Riddle,
Second.
second by Ms. Wozniak. Any comments, questions to the motion?
Yes. In this item here, there are a number of people that are listed here and are probably well-deserved of these entitlements. However, there are more categories that should be included in this. Our managers are not in this. We have one manager that is bringing in millions and millions and millions of dollars into our school district. And the rewards and recognition that that manager gets is virtually none. And I am kind of taken aback that that this is something that is happening with people that bring millions of dollars into the district, and that no rewards, and we have other people that are on the verge of leaving our school district because of the lack of recognition, the lack of rewards in their jobs, and they are looking at direction that the district is going. They know about the direction, and they're looking at the direction that the board is going in. Well, not the board, but the district, and it is not to their liking, but there's no recourse for them to be able to talk about it, for fear that, unfortunately, just kind of, I guess, retaliation or what you want to call it, that may be a little harsh. But we need to find a better way to do this. We need to find a better way to reward our staff. You can't expect people to continue to work hard for an organization, give their all, and no recognition, no regards, no rewards, and always they get pushback. And so I'm not at liberty at this point to name the names, but I do have the names, and we just need to do better, board. We need to do better. We need to hold on to all of the, how can I say it, the individuals in our school district that are producing positive results. We need to do something to keep them, because as soon as they leave us, somebody is going to grab them up if they are not already on the radar for people to grab them. Okay, we need to keep all the employees. We cannot afford to lose good people out of our district. And so until this item is looked at different and more categories of the people that should be in there to get entitlements, until they're in there, I cannot support this.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah. Any other questions?
Can I say something?
A lot of, no questions, but what Ms. Hannah is saying, I do understand it, as well as our prospective audience that brought their reasoning to the table. But what I would like to understand is the metrics that you use, Superintendent, to make this happen.
Good question.
Yes, I want to piggyback. Ms. Hannah said fear of retaliation, that there are some employees, and I publicly want to state this. I know that this is being streamed over YouTube. I want to publicly state, if there is a fear of retaliation, you are to email Jeremy Duffy. His email is jduffy@wps60.org. Any employee that has any type of fear or retaliation, please email Mr. Duffy personally. Second of all, I want to state that we hire employees for certain positions. The grant manager her job is to secure grants. That is her job, to write grants, secure grants. That is why we offered that position. That is why the Board of Education voted to approve that position, so that we can obtain more grants in our district. And she has done a phenomenal job. We have given her kudos at previous board meetings. All of our employees, there's many employees that go above and beyond. We have Carol May, who has a blue ribbon school. We have Gladys Rodriguez, who has had the first exemplary school. We have Ms. Polk, who has award after award after award. We have our operations team that has opened this district operationally, I would say flawlessly. We have teachers out there every day that have 90% still attending their classes and their reading levels. So it becomes problematic when we start to pick and choose certain employees to highlight for I guess for recognition purposes, because there's so many. But what I would recommend is that the Board of Education we can look at maybe some parameters on where we can offer, I don't want to say incentives, stipends, or, when you go above and beyond, or who is who amongst District 60, we can look at that. And that is an option. We have done that before. We've looked at that for teachers, the 80-plus team. We've looked at that for administrators. Due to COVID, we have not even really, I believe, been able to recognize Ms. May and Ms. Rodriguez. And that's something that I would like to do this year. But I do want to state that we do hire employees. They have a job description, and their job is to perform what's in their job description, and to do it at a superior, I guess, rate of how they work. I mean, we want the best of our employees, because when our employees give their best, our kids get their best. And on that note, Ms. Polk, would you like to speak to the director, assistant directors, and coordinators?
President, board members, superintendent, it was the recommendation from the business office to operations and the superintendent that we again extend those entitlements for the groups that's presented to you tonight. In light of COVID and everything that they've experienced, the board agenda item last year was saying that would be the last year for the extension. But in light of everything that has happened, we felt that it would be prudent for the district to at least recommend to the superintendent and to the board to extend it yet another year. The language to extend it 1 year is also included here tonight. And so we ask that you extend that on the basis of this unprecedented event that none of us were able to control.
And just for
Okay.
clarification, right, it's an extension, so this is a entitlement that they've had for the last, is it 2 or 3 years, Ms. Pope?
2 years.
2 years. And so
Yes.
this would be year 3 of that entitlement?
Yes,
With the expectation that it sunsets at the end of this year?
yes.
Yeah, so I know when we say adding to or taking from the education fund, I don't know if you also want to mention why that is.
Because the salaries, most of the expenses that the district has come out of the education fund. That is the premier account that is used and by all the districts across the state, because most of our operational expenses come out of the education fund. This cost is allowable out of that fund. We can afford it. We do not believe that it's going to hinder the district from doing anything that it sets out to do, and so that's why we made that recommendation.
Are there any other questions?
Was there a particular reason why the managers, I know there's more than one manager, and I'm referencing all of them, why were they not put in this entitlement?
The best answer that I could give to you, Ms. Hannah, is that they were not a part of the original group. And so this extension it's the same group that has had it for the past 2 years. We did not increase the numbers, did not change the job categories or anything like that.
And would there be a problem if this group of staff were included in the entitlements?
That's a very difficult question to answer. I don't think that it would be a problem, but I think that with what we're trying to do, which is to extend it on the basis of who've had the entitlements previously, it would just, add to the numbers. I don't think it would be a problem, but that's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to extend an entitlement that already exists.
Right. And so what entitlements then are existing for that group of hardworking people?
I don't want to diminish anything that those groups are doing, because I think, as the superintendent have said, they're doing a wonderful job. And I commend all of the individuals who are in the other groups. But what we're presenting tonight is merely the groups that have had this before. And I'm always conscious of the finances of the district. And because this group had it before, and because this was, something that none of us was able to forecast, we didn't want to harm these individuals, but we did not also want to increase the expenditures for the district in light of not knowing what's going to happen from the state level. Because this is, this is not 1 year. In my office, we don't look at 1 year. We look at 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, and what are the implications of whatever decisions that are made today. And so I believe that this was in the best interest of the district at present, to remain with the groups that have had it before, and then for it to sunset, just like the board president pointed out.
And when was this? When was the this first brought forth? Do you
2
remember
years
the
ago.
year? 2 years ago?
Yes.
Okay, I have to go back and I have to look because I honestly cannot recall this, but I definitely will go back into board docs and I will look.
Renewed last year, correct?
Yes, it was renewed last year.
And it's called called entitlements?
That's what we entitled it, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I see 2 hands, and then I will, if there are no further questions, we will go ahead and move forward with the vote. Go ahead, Mr. McBride, and then Ms. Gonzalez.
Well, I understand what's being put forward here in front of us as a board, and it's a lot of it's got to do with money. And as it was said, all our employees work hard, from the person that's sweeping in the washroom, from the person that's in the food service, and I think as the superintendent did speak that maybe we could start to look a little bit better and start to look around a little bit better, and those that have been exceptional and made some extreme efforts to go above and beyond. And that is, I think it was recommended, made bonus types, things of that nature. And since I've been on board, we've done that. I think maybe we could do a little bit better. But in terms of, you can't please everybody. That's the bottom line to it. And somewhere along down the line, you got to please somebody. So with that, that's all I got to say.
Ms. Gonzalez?
I had more of a comment than a question. I feel like I asked all my questions yesterday while I was reading this. I'm very conflicted about this because I look at how our administrators are paid, and I mean, we do a lot of work. Our district staff does a lot of work. But I also recognize that, you know, we pay people a lot of money to keep our schools running. So I understand why we want to increase and expand entitlements, even though the salaries themselves look a little hefty. But I think right now what I worry about is going into this school year, hopefully expecting that students return in person, that we need all hands on deck. And I fear not having staff return, especially who are in these positions. You know, I see diverse learner coordinators, I see academic chairs, and we need everybody to not have one foot out the door when it comes to Waukegan. So I'm voting my conscience because of that today. But I'm doing so knowing that a lot of our families make half of these salaries as well.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. And so if there are no further questions from the board, I will ask for a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
No.
Ms. Callahan-Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes. Item approved, motion carries. We are now at item 9E, approve the extension of Elevate K-12 for the summer program.
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to approve the purchase of Elevate K-12 not to exceed the amount of $345,600 to support our district summer school program.
Mr. Riddle, I so move that we approve the motion as read.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, second by Mr. McBride. Any comments, questions about the item?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Okay, I'm a little bit confused in terms of why we are doing summer school, and I understand, well, it's said, being said, let me see, where did I find that this was for recovery of high school senior credits. And if that is the case, I don't understand why we decrease the credits if we are having summer, if we're having summer school for credit recovery. And I do understand that Elevate K-12 does work with the middle school and the high school, and that there's other grade levels aside from seniors, okay? But it says about, it says that they're going to be doing credit recovery for seniors. So I need an explanation as to which one is it and what is, are we going to have credit recovery for seniors? And if we have credit recovery for seniors, then why did we decrease the credit requirements?
Good evening. All right. Good evening, Superintendent, Board President, board members, members of the community, and colleagues. To answer your question, Ms. Hannah, our summer school program is going to focus on credit recovery for all students. Any student that was deficient in credits throughout this past year, or the year and a half, will be eligible to take courses in our summer school program. So it's not just a focus on seniors for the credit recovery piece. It's going to support all students of the high school as well. So, you know, we, as mentioned at the meeting in April, we already have a high number of teachers that have expressed interest in teaching at our summer program. So Elevate will be used to supplement any remaining gaps that may exist in terms of staffing needs that we have for courses. There's 6 courses that Elevate has agreed to provide staffing for if we need them, and that's the Algebra 1, Algebra 2, geometry, biology, chemistry, and physics.
Right, and so are we to have preference being given to our district staff?
Yes. Any teacher in Waukegan that wants to teach in our summer school program will have the first rite of passage to do so.
And could you, where are the seniors in this equation?
Every senior is different. I mean, it depends what their credit needs are. It depends how many credits they were able to obtain. For those that have already met the threshold that the board approved, obviously they will be cleared to graduate. But there are some that have not met that threshold, so they may need to take courses over the summer to potentially graduate in August during our summer graduation ceremony. And
you have those numbers, sir?
For the seniors that still need certain courses?
Yes.
Yeah, we can definitely, I think the high school has that data available because they're already starting to meet, the students are already starting to meet with their counselors to identify which courses they still need to take for credit recovery. So they have that broken down by each grade level. The high school has that those numbers available.
I'm specifically talking about our seniors.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't remember specifically what information was provided in terms of credits. We did provide them with a number of students that, with the revised policy, would be graduating as a result of the revision versus those that would not.
And that's what I'm looking for. The number of students that have not met the threshold.
The revised.
It's fine, if we can send it out again.
Yeah.
What they're saying, Ms. Hannah, is in those numbers, they gave us the total that already met it. The 205 was the number that they anticipated, and then the third number are those who still were not on track.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact number
So
of
if we
them.
can give that
man.
exact number to the Board
Sure.
of Education.
If you send it out again, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yep.
And, yeah, thank you for that, Ms. Hannah. Were there any other questions as it related to Elevate? I know we do have Elevate representatives who are in.
Yeah, I did want to take a moment to introduce them, if you don't mind, Board and Superintendent. We do have 3 members from the Elevate team here this evening. We have Shaylee Barinall, who is the founder and CEO of the company, as well as 2 of her teammates, Lauren Gaspar and Amy Alstein, have joined us this evening. So we want to thank them for coming out. It's been a great partnership since we've joined teams with them, and they're always here to support us as needed. So we appreciate their time tonight.
And I don't know, Ms. Leguizamo, if you just want to very briefly, and if you don't, I will.
No, I just wanted to say, one of the things that I do like about the program, especially before pandemic, was that it offered our students that academic accountability that they're going to see at the college level or even at the workforce level. So this is definitely preparation for them, and I appreciate that. I know there's a few hiccups still in the program and within our school system, and this is where it concerns me a little bit, but I'd like to see a little bit more interventions in identifying those students that are struggling within that program, because I can see so much more growth out of that whole program and for our students. So I'll say it at that. Thank you, Board President. I know Ms. Gonzalez had a comment too.
Yeah, I had 2 questions for the program. Do we have any student surveys for like the experiences that students have had under the program? Does the program have any feedback like that?
Yeah, there was a deck that I attached to the agenda item that had some survey results that Elevate issued to the students. I believe a fourth of the students, if my math's right, a fourth of the students took the survey, third of the students took the survey. And you can see, it's on the last slide or one of the last slides, there was essentially 4 or 5 areas that they surveyed the students on. One was supportive teachers, and 85% of the students that took the survey rated their Elevate Live teachers very supportive in the classroom. 76% of them felt that the classroom coach, that is our own internal staff member that's assigned to that class, 76% of them felt that the classroom coach was very instrumental in their success in the classroom as well. So I think that speaks volumes about the support that students are getting in the classroom. 74% were impressed with the learning of new concepts and increasing their confidence overall in their skill sets in those classrooms. And 72%, students are raving about how their Elevate Live teacher makes the learning environment fun and engaging. 72% of the students that were surveyed spoke to the learning environment as well. So they're constantly getting feedback from the classrooms. I'm reaching out to the principals occasionally and finding out how things are working, how they're not working, how they can be supported. Whenever I call on them to come out, if there's an issue, whether it's when we're in person, if there's a technological issue or an issue with a particular classroom, they're always very responsive to come and support us as needed. So, like I said, it's been a great partnership. And yes, there's definitely room for improvement, but it's definitely a program that has allowed us to fill in some of the gaps that we've seen in our teaching classrooms.
Thank you for that. And then the second question I had is that, maybe this is more for the board, but is there a reason why some of our schools are in partnership with them as opposed to others?
I'm sorry, if you can just speak a little bit more directly into the mic, Ms. Gonzalez.
Sorry, I had a question about the schools that were in partnership with them, why there's some that were included as to not?
Good question. So it depends on where the vacancies are, the hard-to-staff vacancies. So we have some schools that are able to fill their positions right away, and some schools that are not. And if you look at some of the breakdown of the courses that they're teaching, a lot of them are for ESL classes and whatnot. So in those classrooms where a bilingual teacher or ESL certified teacher is needed, Elevate has a pool of candidates that they can select from that assist us in filling those needs. They do provide courses for all middle schools and all high schools. They expanded their courses by 22 different courses, I think they expanded from last year to this year. So they're continuing to expand their offerings to schools so that, if there is a need that arises, we can potentially lean on them if we have to.
But we are not, we're not going to evolve into just Elevate, right? We're gonna...
Correct.
Okay.
As I mentioned earlier, they're here to supplement our teaching force. Our teachers, nothing can replace a live in-person teacher, right?
Absolutely.
So this is just a supplement to any gaps that we may have.
Thank you, Dr. Knox. Go ahead, Ms. Wozniak.
Why is Jack Benny's attendance so poor?
You know what, it's a good question. I was looking at the attendance data for all the schools, and, you know, Elevate experienced some of the same challenges that we did with our remote learning. First and foremost, being able to control the learning environment in a remote setting is difficult. It varies from household to household. The level of support that students get varies from household to household as well. So in this particular, you know, I can't speak specifically to why Benny's attendance rate is so low, but it definitely, attendance is a critical factor to student success in a class, in any class, right? So, you know, looking at the attendance rates, we see that they are somewhat in line with what we experienced at some at our sites in our remote learning plan as well. So I think going back to that remote learning environment and getting kids motivated and engaged to show up in that remote learning by a daily basis was a challenge not only for us, but for Elevate teachers as well.
Does Elevate have any solution to increase the attendance in these four?
Well, I will say this, you know, I think our superintendent's goal is hopefully to be back fully in person in the fall. So if we were to use Elevate in the future, they'll be in the classroom with the Elevate teacher, with the classroom coach there to provide support and guidance as well. And, you know, obviously we're hoping that our attendance percentages increase in all of our classes at that point.
Dr. Nod, I'm looking at grades.
Mm-hmm.
And the grades are kind of concerning. And I'm just wondering if you can help me understand that. And I'm looking at all of the end of semester one,
Mm-hmm.
high school, end of semester one, middle school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we don't use Elevate at elementary, right?
No, just our middle and high school classes.
Right.
Yep.
And so I'm kind of like Ms. Wozniak. Is there anything that Elevate can do to help bring up those grades?
Yeah, so they're, you know, kind of, I'm not trying to, you know, repeat myself, but there are a lot of factors that go into a student's success in the classroom, attendance being one of the most important, right? Attendance, the learning environment, motivation, engagement, and those kinds of things. So there definitely is, you know, if you look at this data here, and I put a comparison on this. There's a couple slides that you saw where I did a comparison versus an Elevate classroom and a non-Elevate classroom, just so you could kind of see, you know, I tried to pick courses, and these were random courses that I picked that just had the same course title, that were roughly a couple sections that had the same sizes, just so you could the board could kind of see, you know, the results that Elevate courses were getting versus non-Elevate courses. And I had one slide where it seemed like in the Spanish class, Elevate students were performing better, but in the other slide I had I think it was the biology class where the non-Elevate students were performing better. So each classroom is different when it comes to, you know, the types of outcomes they're going to get. But you will look at, if you look at all these, if you look at these comparisons, you'll see the numbers of D's and F's that we have in both of these settings is high, right? So, you know, outside of Elevate, improving their success rate, we also would want to look at the remote learning success rate of our classrooms as well.
What does ESL sheltered mean?
It's English as a second language sheltered classrooms. And essentially those are students that they're in the process of developing their language proficiency and they're transitioning into mainstream classrooms. So it's sheltered because they're, oh gosh, it's been a while since I've had to speak this. It's sheltered just because they're grouped in a way that they're with English language learners that are similar to them, and they're transitioning into the mainstream classrooms.
So the
I think
poor stats on the biology ESLs sheltered maybe because of an English learning thing? Or,
Yes, so the classes the biology classes that I shared, the comparison, one was a sheltered biology classroom, and the other one was a regular biology classroom.
thank you.
And that's the reason I did the biology is that I think that the only class that they teach is the ESL sheltered for, I think it's our middle school or our high school. So I just, like I said, I pulled some random courses just to do so the board could see a comparison of the courses and how students were performing, not only in the Elevate classrooms, but in the non-Elevate classrooms as well. Not trying to paint a picture that Elevate is supreme compared to our other classroom, but just so the board could see that comparison.
Thank you for that, Dr. Dahl.
I do have another question, I'm sorry.
Ms. Wozniak and then Mr. McBride.
If we don't have Elevate in there, what would happen to these classrooms?
So without tapping into a resource like Elevate, you're going to have a classroom that's going to have a substitute teacher in there for a good majority of the year, or however long it takes for that school to fill that particular vacancy. And we know those candidates that have those unique certifications and those endorsements get scooped up by other districts almost immediately. It's always been a challenge for us, actually in every district I've worked in, it's always been a challenge to find teachers that are certified in those areas. What separates, what the advantage that Elevate has is they have a national pool. So they can, the teacher can actually be teaching from California and be teaching our students here in Waukegan. So they have a much broader pool to select from when it comes to staffing some of those harder to fill positions.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. McBride, final question, and then if we can take the
I
vote.
really don't have a question, but it's a rough time right now in all households. You got kids sitting there in front of the screen by themselves, and nobody actually really able to coach them or help them when they feeling anxiety, and it's difficult for them to pay attention to what's going on in the classroom. One day, speaking of attendance, they may see 7 kids in the class, and the next day you wind up with 3. And it's not only just in the classroom. I was out riding around today. I was following one of the buses, the stops and stuff that they make. The bus driver stops, nobody comes out. Go to another stop, nobody comes out. All of that is making a difference in terms of how our kids learn these days. And it's just a rough time. I don't think there is an answer. How can you do better and how can you improve attendance unless you actually right there to be able to put your hands on it. And right now, everything is virtual. And I was at a place today in an outreach center watching 2 kids sitting there. One was, I think she had to be about maybe 8 years old. And I'm looking at her, looking at the screen, I don't even see the teacher, but because the teacher might have been somewhere on the blind side, so she's trying to understand what's going on and really don't have nobody there to help her navigate through what she's trying to learn. So it's just a hard time right now, and I'm hoping that I heard somebody say at some point all this is going to come to an end, and we'll be back in school, and I'm sure at that time we'll do better.
Thank you for that, Mr. McBride. With that, I would like a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. It is now 8 p.m. Board of Education, so there's not a ton left on our agenda. We do have a presentation from Ms. Hannah when we get down to delegates report, but the next items should go relatively quickly. So I'm going to go to item 10A, purchases and contracts. We have student accident and athletic catastrophic accident insurance renewal.
It is recommended the Board of Education approve the AIG renewal proposal for student accident and athletic catastrophic accident insurance as required under Illinois School Code 105 ILCS 5/22-15 and authorizes superintendent to execute and accept the renewal contract.
Motion by Ms. Leguizamo,
Second by Mr. Riddle.
second by Mr. Riddle. Any comments, questions on the motion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We are now at personnel. Item 11A, personnel for 5/11/2021.
It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the administration's recommendation to approve the appointments, accept the retirements and resignations as found on schedules F957, L904, and G615.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Wozniak,
Second.
second by Mr. Riddle. Any comments or questions? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Personnel.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. I know Ms. Hannah had a concern with the number of resignations, and I also know that prior to going back 2 years now, when Mr. Rivera was a board member, that there was a request and conversation around board exit surveys. And so that is something that I would request that we look into seriously and have discussions around as a board with the admin team about what implementation could look like for next school year. We do understand that we have a retention, we know what our retention rate is. We want to see that increase. And so that feedback would be valuable to understand why people leave, what decisions are made, and it will help guide those things that we heard tonight, like income, compensation, work environment, et cetera, and what is driving people to look elsewhere. So we understand life happens, people relocate, all of those things we find out in the survey. The majority of teachers aren't leaving because they're dissatisfied, it's because they're moving out of state. Or we may find that there's a concern that we as a board need to address that is underlying those issues. So thank you for bringing that up again, Ms. Hannah, and I will support that conversation and look that we see what that will look like for next school year. With that, we're going to move down to item 14. I'm going to ask that we take 14A and B together. These are the ratification of the first processing of board bills for May 2021 manual check request payments and First Midwest insurance payments for the period of April 21st, 2021 through May 4th, 2021. And then item 14B, which would be the retroactive approval of the second processing of board bills for April 2021 manual check request payments and First Midwest insurance payments for the period of April 7th, 2021 through April 20th, 2021. Do we have a motion to take items A and B together?
So move, Lucy, or Leguizamo.
Motion by Ms. Leguizamo. The second was Mr. Riddle. Any comments or questions on the motion?
I have, every now and then I will do this. I go through the bills and stuff, and I have a list of them, and I would like to ask about these, and if there, hopefully someone will be taking notes, because I know that I probably won't get answers right now, but I do expect the board to receive the information. And these are check numbers from the disbursement checks. Check number 981286, Alliance, Illinois, and it's for $21,060, and it's for surveillance. What are we surveilling? And what was under surveillance? And I'm going to say that that would come from maybe Mr. Moulton, maybe?
Or Ms. Polk will know who the check went to, and so if there's anything that we need from Mr. Moulton to support why they were paid, we'll get that to the board. Are there any other check numbers, Ms. Hannah?
Oh, absolutely. This is going to take me a minute. I want to know what's going on with all of these return payment fees and late fees, and what is happening that we keep expending funds for this First Midwest credit cards with these return payment fees and late fees. Okay, that needs to be answered. Okay, that's money wasted. Check number, is someone please taking notes, because I'm not sitting here. Brian is taking notes? Okay, thank you, sir. 981296, and that is a meeting with the board. Who met with the board at Bob and Ann's? And that needs to be, and what are the meetings about? Because I never have had a meeting at Bob and Ann's, so I want to know what that's about. And check number 981296, that's at the Country Inns and Suites for, there were 4 totals, $627.20, $537.60, $806.40, $985.60, and what was that for district staff? What was that for? Okay, I mean, Country Inn, and why are they 4 different amounts? And check number 981303, what was the school board, what did we pay the school board of Broward County, Florida for? Got that one, Mr. Luosa? And 981100, who is Janine Schultz, the Janine Schultz School? What services do they provide to who? Nine 1118, Lowry McDowell Company for $260,554.74. What company is that, and what services do they provide for the district? Check number 981122, Mark Lude for $7,849.66. What services are provided to the district? Check number 981136, Northeastern Illinois University for $30,208.32. And why are we paying Northeastern that large amount of money, and who, for who? And then we have check number 981111, I might have missed the number. But that's for the Lake Shore Learning Materials. And I thought that they would be providing their own, their materials themselves under their contract that we have with them. And why do we have to buy it? And there's a check for Allendale for $102,960. And I just wanted to know how many of our students are at Allendale for that amount of money. And so, Mr. President, when can I expect answers for?
48 hours sufficient, Ms. Polk?
Yes.
Okay.
And just, or not, I mean, yeah, 48 hours, 2 days. That's, she might have them to you tomorrow. And same to all board members, if there are questions on any check items, when I have them, Ms. Wozniak, anyone else, you can always email to Ms. Polk. She doesn't come to the meeting with the information, but usually within a couple hours, she will get you those responses. So, Mr. Luosa, you don't have any follow-up questions? You captured each one of Ms. Hannah's requests? Thank you, Mr. Luosa. And so,
if there's anything you need, any information, Mr. Luosa, I will provide it for you.
thank you. All right, with that, we have a motion and a second. Are there any other questions? If not, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Cohen Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes. Item approved, motion carries. With that, committee reports. Are there any committee reports at this time? There are none.
Are you going to reassign committee?
Yes, after our meeting with IASB, so I'll mention that during board member time. Student board member report, I don't believe that our student board member was available this evening. I know he is busy with schoolwork, but usually he will email me any remarks, and I did not get those today, so, but I'm sure he'll be joining us at our next board meeting. Ms. Hannah requested some time to to speak about our resolution opportunity with the IASB, and so I will cede the floor to Ms. Hannah to update the board and provide any information that she sees fit.
Okay, I am going to be passing out this. Thank you. Okay, what I am passing out to each of the board members as well as to the superintendent and also to legal is just information on the proposed resolution that I am looking for our Board of Education. This is not a me task. This is not a me task. It might be mine. Yeah, this is a us task. And I have done extensive research. ISB is really excited about a resolution coming from us regarding the why our children can't read. And I am working, and as you see the information, you know, hopefully you'll take some time and read the information, and there's scientific research that says that that phonics will cause our children to read. Okay, I did find out some good stuff that we're doing right here in our district through my research that come next school year, that our elementary K through second grade will be working with phonics, and with Dr. Kevin Brown and his team have been working with the science of teaching the students to read with phonics. And see, we have always, we have been using a whole language approach to teaching phonics, and through research again, I have found that, and it's all out there, you can see it, that really staggering, just in the state of Illinois alone, 61% of school-age children in all grades are not even reading on their basic grade level. That's just the state of Illinois. My research, however, it went throughout the nation, and the nation's percentages are just as dismal. One of the most important pieces of research that I came across was out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, where they the principal superintendent that was there, he wanted to find out the same question that I had, where I started my crusade. Why can't our children read? What's happening? And so that kind of propelled me to start researching and seeing what the research was saying. And with the whole language, it's like, okay, give the kids the book, let them look at it, and then they can learn how to read. Well, no, the science of the brain says that that's not how children learn, okay? Reading is not a natural occurrence with children. Children must be taught to read, okay? Anyway, that's getting into like some of the stuff that that I passed out for you all's reading and stuff. And there's a lot of information that's out on the internet. But now getting to the resolution part, what it is that I am hoping that the Waukegan Board of Education will present a resolution for ISB, to ISB, so that we could, we want them to support and establish within the legislation that school districts have to use the scientific method of teaching reading instead of, and that's the scientific way, that's the proven way, and this whole language approach is more on a philosophy education philosophy or whatever. Anyway, I would like us to be kind of trendsetters, if you will, and to take and say we want this for all schools. We want the science of reading to be taught. And that's meaning putting phonics into the curriculums and not by just a choice. Okay, you choose, oh, if we want to do phonics, we can. If we want to do the whole language, we can. Well, if you look, the whole language approach has not worked. We have so many children that are coming out of schools that are not reading. And here's the thing, everybody thinks that it is only in the urban school districts. Well, through my research again, I found that students that come from affluent homes, two college educated parents, they're not reading well either. They're struggling with reading too. And so this is not just something that's happening in the urban schools and so forth. It's happening all over with our children. And the science has been ignored over the years. And in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, I was talking about the superintendent, right? He said, why can't the kids read? They did experiment, so to speak, a study, right? And they everybody say, oh, well, the kids come out of poverty, they can't read, because they come out of poverty, right? All the homes and all that stuff. Well, he proved that wrong, because he took students out of poverty homes, and then he took students in affluent homes, okay? And he gave the poverty students, he taught them with phonics. And he didn't give the others phonics. Same grade level, everything, okay? And the students that were in poverty, they excelled higher than the other students. And so as a result of that, the principal, he took and he put all resources, and this is what I want our school district to think about too. He put the resources into reading, because he knew that once the kids were reading proficiently, fluently, with comprehension, he knew that every test that they take, and you all may have heard me say that, if they read, they're going to pass tests. They're going to do well in school. But he put the resources in professional development. He did it for an entire year. And he taught his teachers how to teach phonics, because also through research, the teaching colleges are not teaching teachers how to teach children to read. They're not teaching how to teach children to read. They think that it's a natural thing. It's not. Anyway, I would like the board of the Waukegan Board of Education to present ISB with a resolution and they will do all the research. I just did this research because I'm a researcher and I like to know stuff. but they will do all of the research, and they will even write all the narratives that they want and everything. Of course, I will present and what I have found. And please, if your board members, if you're interested in contributing to this, I welcome that, you know, because I'm just one person, but we all get together and we do it together, and we could come up with something magnificent that will that will help not only our students, but will help the state of Illinois, the children in the state of Illinois, because that's the ultimate goal. It's for the legislation to say, we want this done in our schools. Yes, ma'am.
Shouldn't we model this in our own school district first before we bring it to the
No.
state of Illinois?
It has nothing to do with that. No.
Okay.
No, ma'am. Mr. Riddle.
Quick question, or two of them actually. One is, Ms. Hannah, you've done a lot of research on this and you've given us a bunch of data to read. Do you have a draft resolution yet that we would present? Have you
Wait,
done-
tell me, say, it's hard to hear what that
Okay.
ask.
Have you drafted a resolution regarding this scientific method? And can you get that to us so that we can look at the resolution?
You know what, I'm a slow typer. I even told Mr. Ewan that I would have it done, but I'm almost done. Okay with it, but absolutely. As soon as I get done with it, I would definitely give it to each and every one of you.
And does this method use the
Yeah, I'll send it to
phonics?
Mr. Alajakis or the superintendent, and she can get it to you all.
Okay, good. And then when we have had a chance to read through this, can you just let us know, is this new scientific method?
It's not new, Mr. Riddle.
No, is it the one that's called the 3 queuing that's here?
The-
3 queuing method?
No, it's
that's not what it's called.
There is a.
It's using
there's-
phonics? Is it using phonics?
Yes, it's phonics.
this one. Okay.
Yes, it's phonics. And let me tell you something that is going on in Detroit, Michigan right now. There's a group of parents that are suing the school district because they graduated 12th grade students that could not read. And they are suing them in federal court right now. And that's why I'm saying, look, we can kind of get ahead of the game, okay, before it becomes a trend.
Right.
Where people, you know, oh, well, look, my son graduated high school and he can't read. My daughter, and so we kind of need, you all know I'm a proactive person.
Right.
And
Okay.
so we need to look at this.
I just
And
wa-
anything that you all have to contribute with this, look, I'm open arms so we can get this done. And here's the thing, we got until June 23rd.
Okay. All right. My second question is this something our district supports? That we know that this method is one that we're using or that we support in our
The
district?
district, go ahead. Well, I found out, okay, just recently that that your K-8 director, coordinator, whatever, that they're getting ready to put phonics into the curriculum, the scientific method use of curriculum. And we need to support them, and we need to give them all of the professional development that they need to get this so that our children will learn how to read. And this is board business, okay? This is board business. I specifically asked ISB about the district, well, about, you know, does the district or the superintendent, have to buy in and stuff, they say, of course, it would be nice, but this is board business. Yeah. You got a question, Superintendent?
No, I just wanted to thank Ms. Hannah for her passion. And we know that Ms. Hannah is very passionate, but the one thing I'm taking away from this is that I have constantly said publicly that our reading gap in Waukegan is just not a Waukegan issue. And it seems that me and Ms. Hannah are finally getting on the same page with that, because it is not just a Waukegan issue. It's not a Chicago issue. It's not an Indiana issue. It's a national issue. It's something that we need to address. And Ms. Hannah pointed on the how, and we spent a lot of time working with our teachers and developing teachers on how to teach, and that is why that professional development is so important that now Ms. Hannah is echoing. And past this question, right, why are we doing so much professional development? But in order to maintain your craft, perfect your craft, and build on your craft, professional development is constantly needed in any profession. So I'm glad to hear you're echoing that. And yes, under the Department of Academics, we're constantly tweaking our plan around, reading, math, science, etc., in Destination 2022. And what you will be hearing around this whole literacy initiative, the Department of Academics will be presenting more based off research and how this will work in sync with everything else that we have going on. This is just not one isolated piece. We have to remember that. So when we have a car, it's just not the radiator. It's everything that has to work in sync to ensure that we're able to move forward and that kids are able to use the modalities that they learn in order to succeed in the classroom. So the board will be hearing more about this, but I appreciate the research that you have done, and I appreciate that we're on the same page about the literacy gap in Waukegan is not just a literacy gap. So when we talk about accountability, and we look at our teachers, the professional development is so important in that, and ensuring that they have the tools in order to be successful in their classroom is another important initiative that goes along with that. So thank you, Ms. Hannah.
Yeah, and it is, I found it funny that, they talked about what was it, blended literacy or blended something or other, and scientists believe that that is simply the rhetoric to cover up the use of phonics in the schools. And you can look at, and please go to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and the principal's superintendent's name, his last name is Silva. Just like we got a Silva here, Waukegan, his name is Silva. And look what he did in his school district. Every one of his schools, none of them were under 80%, and I'm taking some from him. None of them were under 80% proficient, all of their schools in reading. And so it's okay for us to borrow from other people and what's working, and let's see what we can do. Yes.
Next steps are for Ms. Hannah to get the draft resolution, and then we'll set some time aside at our next meeting during
Maybe
delegates report. That's going to be action-packed. I know what you're talking about, the 22nd, which is... No.
At the student achievement meeting. Because I can have it done by then.
Yeah, so if you have it done and give the board enough time, so then we can discuss it at our next board meeting during delegate time.
Yeah.
Yep, but not during student achievement is going to be packed. So it's already going to be a very long meeting. So we'll set time aside at our next board meeting in 2 weeks to discuss the draft resolution.
Right, okay, because we do have to vote on it.
Of course. And so
Yeah.
given the deadline that you said of June 20,
June 23rd.
yeah, we have more than enough time to get it,
Right.
have those discussions and vote on it, probably
Right.
at our first meeting in June.
Right.
Okay?
Okay. I certainly hope that, I didn't mean to have so many trees killed, but I just wanted to make sure that you all got the information. And there's more. I think also there's a list of websites, of links, okay, that you can go to, because right here in Wisconsin, Dr. Seigenberg, he is a guru on the science of reading.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah.
Thank you all for listening. And
Ms. Leguizamo.
Just really quick, Ms. Hannah, I don't know, did you research how the phonics program works in a bilingual and dual setting?
it's the same thing. The science of reading. Okay, but that's a good issue. And if you want to work with me to incorporate that piece into the resolution, that'd be great.
I do want to state that some research needs to be done there because it doesn't exactly translate in the same, because if you're teaching in Spanish, the phonics, as you know, Mrs. Leguizamo. So there's a lot. That's why I said I would really like the academic team to come and brief the board on what this literacy initiative is going to look like for multiple sectors of our population, and how we are going to build upon that. I'm not saying that the transfer won't eventually happen, right? But there's just more to that. It's not an all yes, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and see, and reason why I am asking for legislation, you know how administrations through schools change, right? And one administration is gun-ho about the science of reading, and then the administration change, and then the curriculum changes again, okay? And we need some consistency. That was one of the things that the science is saying, that there's too much inconsistency, okay, for our kids to grab onto really anything.
Thank you.
And just to be sure, that was, what was the name of the school out in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania?
I can't.
What was the name of the school in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania?
Just go to, just pick, something henna. But if you just look up Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and then put in silver, okay, and phonics, it will come right up.
Okay, and then you're anticipating on the resolution, what grades are you looking to target for this?
Oh, actually, I want elementary school. Elementary school. See, because and when I was told that it was K through 2 here, I kind of, you know, I wanted to say, well, no, we need to continue that into 3rd grade, 4th grade, and then at 5th grade, it should be, our children's reading should be mastered.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that comes up in our, not just our school district, but also nationwide, right? As our families and our students move from district to district, you don't know what they do and don't know until you find out, right?
Absolutely.
And so some people might even need it at a high school level. Now, I have worked personally
Absolutely.
with the phonics program, specifically in my household, because one of my kids was not reading at level. It took me 2 months within that phonics program to get him at level, and he continued to progress from there. So I do like the phonics program. I didn't do it in a bilingual or dual language setting. I did it in a single language setting. So I agree with a lot of what you're saying. And, I'd also like to help to support this resolution, but also I'd like to understand how, if you know anything about the legislation that was talking about teachers needing to be certified specifically in reading from an elementary level. I know there was a bill that was out there. I don't know. I was trying to find it while you were talking and I couldn't find it, but I don't know if you know where that is at, because I think something like this and that hand in hand might better our reading statistics, even from a state level. So just...
excuse me, Ms. Leguizamo, but also one of the issues, the big issues, is that our teaching colleges, they have a part in this as well, because as I said, they're not teaching teachers how to teach phonics in classrooms. And so that's how come I am 150% in support of, if we were to say, if the superintendent was to say, okay, we have 90 reading teachers, and 90 reading teachers need to have ongoing professional development for an entire year to learn how to teach phonics, I'll say, okay, because I know that it is something that will give our children lifelong reading skills. It will give them we don't have to worry about them being able to build a jail because they know how many third graders aren't going to read, okay? And so they base that, the number that they say aren't going to read, so they go and they build a jail, okay, for that, okay? Or we don't have to worry about our children not passing SAT exams, the SAT, the ACT, AIR exams. Okay, our kids will do science, our kids will do social studies. I mean, because they can read. That's what the issue is.
Yeah, and my problem is not, I mean, it's not just the reading part, but it's the comprehension part.
Yeah, all of it.
That's where, reading is one part of it, right? Because you can cite word and remember things, but it's the comprehension part, it's the building part, it's a lot more intense in there. I know there's a lot more people that know a lot more about the reading subject than I do, but I appreciate the presentation. Just wanted to say that, and thank you. And those were all my questions, Board President.
Well, thank you. And just to clarify something, with phonics, all of the comprehension, all of the vocabulary, all of that comes together with that. It's not a separate thing. Okay, we have a reading specialist right there, and I'm pretty sure that what I'm saying that she probably will agree to. Okay, all that comprehension, everything, context clues, all of that stuff comes in when you teach with phonics to kids.
Thank you for that,
anyway,
Ms. Hannah. So we
Okay.
got the next steps, which is the board resolution. She'll
Yes.
get to Mr. Alajakis, he'll send to the board, and we have a board discussion during
Right.
delegates' time at our next board meeting.
And I have extra sheets if you all want to contribute to the writing of the resolution.
I think the best approach, Ms. Hannah, is for you to draft the basis
Okay.
and then for us to have a conversation based on
Okay.
what you write. If someone
Okay.
wants to help
Sounds
you
good.
or reaches out, but I don't want it to be
Absolutely.
5 competing resolutions.
Right, absolutely. And so if you guys, please call me, text me, email me, what have you.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah. Superintendent's report?
At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Alajakis to come up, and he is going to brief us on our vaccination efforts within the district.
Thank you, Superintendent. Good evening, board members, community members, colleagues. I'm really excited to be up here tonight to talk about some of our vaccination efforts recently. As a lot of people may know, last week on Thursday and Friday, the 5th and the 6th, we partnered with Passport Health and some of our partner school districts that we've been working on a lot of these vaccination events to hold a 2-day vaccination clinic here at Waukegan High School that was intended primarily for our students. And we had more than 800 people sign up for those Thursday and Friday events. And I have to say, as somebody who was here, an immense amount of credit goes to the staff who were able to pull this off. From planning it to the execution, it was amazing to see the high school staff come together, with our administrators, with Mr. Briner, Mr. Hill, Ms. Flor Carter from AOEC, kind of overseeing everything. The nurses, we're here, monitoring everything. The secretaries lining the front area did an amazing job helping our families feel comfortable as they were completing the paperwork, ensuring that the paperwork was done properly. Our custodians, and our maintenance crews were everywhere, in terms of setup, but then also during cleaning during the event, the constant sanitation, and our safety officers working in the front, helping people kind of get situated when they came in. They did something really amazing that day. Is we had, again, a little over 800 students and some staff members and community members who signed up. The thing that the safety officers in the front were doing was asking, as parents came in, whether the parents themselves were vaccinated, whether aunts, uncles, whoever were bringing the students were vaccinated. And what we were finding is there were countless amount of people who were coming in that weren't, and so we opened it up for them. And so it was fantastic to be able to vaccinate generations of families here at the school. And the staff, again, we can't say enough for how, what an amazing job they did over those 2 days. They're starting to become pros at this now. They've done 3 days of vaccination clinics here, and each time the organizers, in this case, Passport Health, and in the previous one, Walgreens, left really impressed from the organization, how smooth everything goes, just the way they have it set up from the hallway to the gym to the monitoring area. So it was fantastic to see. Beyond that, oh yeah, you guys can go ahead. They more than deserve the applause for everything that they did. Beyond that, this weekend, as everyone knows, yesterday the FDA approved use for the Pfizer vaccine for those ages 12 to 15. Previously, it was 16 to 18. And so we had been working already with some of our partner districts, Deerfield, Highland Park, Zion, North Chicago, Bannockburn Beach Park, Lake Forest. If I'm forgetting any, I apologize. And we planned a clinic that's being hosted at Deerfield high school this weekend to help vaccinate, 12 and up, but it's primarily focused on our 12 to 15-year-olds. And they're going to be vaccinating about 4,000 people. And that's huge. That's going to be an immense help to all of our communities that are going to be participating in this. And so we're really looking forward to that, to some of our middle school and younger high school age students being able to receive that vaccine this weekend. And then obviously a second dose on June 6th is the planned date. Additionally, we are working to secure some additional vaccination events in district. There's 2 discussions we're having with some organizations for future dates in late May and then early June. And the details on that haven't been finalized yet, but we know how important it is to bring those events into our community, to bring those events somewhere where it's easy for our families to get to. And if last week's event showed us anything, it's that our families feel comfortable in the schools. They maybe didn't feel comfortable to go to a clinic here or a site here or there, but they know the schools, they know the staff here, they know the area, and they're comfortable being around those educators and administrators that they see day in and day out, and they trust them. And we can't say enough about how important that trust is right now to help alleviate some of that vaccine hesitancy that exists. And so we're looking forward to those. We'll be sure to keep the board updated. This is work that I know everybody loves doing. It's hard work. You know, the high school staff was absolutely exhausted by Friday at 6 p.m., but you know, you could see how happy they were to be able to provide that service for their students. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alajakis, and I echo kudos to all the staff who helped put it on. I know teachers are excited with this new approval for our 12 to 15-year-olds. And so anything that we can do to support the efforts to bring it in district, any people that I need to call, if we need to draft a letter, I'm on board. I think Mr. Alajakis hit the nail on the head. A lot of people who wanted the vaccine have been able to get it. And now what we have to do is have the conversations with the rest of the community, is because not everybody believes that the vaccines are the best route to go. But I believe that it is the best way to get us back to some sense of normal. And I know it will alleviate a lot of the concerns of those families who still have their students remote, as well as some of our staff. And so everything that we can do between now and when we open schools in August in order to make sure that we get as many people as want vaccinated is important. And so I commend the district for those efforts, and love to see that we're involving the whole family, because we got to do our job to make sure we keep everybody safe. We are not out of the woods yet, and I'm encouraged by the efforts that we've made. Superintendent, is there anything else?
Not at this time.
I will keep President's report brief, because so just the two big things. We do have, I know it's going to be, May is busy. May is always busy. So to Ms. Gonzalez, there are graduations and middle school graduations and high school graduations and end of the year celebrations and department celebrations. Some of those will be remote. Some of those will be in person. And so it's a busy month. It's also a busy month for the Board of Education. So we do have a budget meeting, which is coming up. And just as a reminder, I say it often, and you heard it echoed even in the comments from Ms. Vukovic earlier, and that is that a budget is a moral document. And so many times the community is looking and they are watching with where we're putting our dollars and our resources. And so no, we cannot, as Mr. McBride said, make everybody happy. But I know that I look forward to having those conversations as a budget to clarify some of the priorities and make sure that they are student focused. And so I invite everybody to that budget workshop. And then for the Board of Education, I know it's going to be a crazy week, but we do have a meeting with IESB on Saturday the 22nd. So Mr. Alajakis did send out a email to save that date. The superintendent and I will be meeting with our IESB rep to flush out the agenda and the timeline for that day. Obviously, we will provide breakfast, but it's going to be a busy but productive day for us to orient ourselves as a board and really start to set the direction of where we want to go over the next 2 years, right? Because that is how long this board is seated before we have 3 members who will be up. So that is on May the 22nd, and then we have our equity workshop will be on June 1st, and then we have our second budget workshop, which the date on that I think we have to confirm with Ms. Pope. So busy time, but important work that needs to happen. A lot of discussions that need to happen. Things like Ms. Hannah's proposing with our resolution and other priorities that the board wants to make. Equity has been a concern and something that we want to push, but we also want to make sure that we're taking the time as a Board of Education to identify how we're going to work together to make sure that we formulate trust between one another and our superintendent, as well as the community. And so that is what May and a lot of June is focused on, is wrapping up work, getting ready for students to come back next year, and making sure that we are working as a board team for the betterment of students in Waukegan. I have more to say, but for the sake of time, I am going to move forward.
Okay.
And so there's nothing under old business, and unless it is vitally important, it is now 9 p.m., so I would ask that any items that aren't on the agenda and haven't been mentioned before tonight's meeting be held over.
Can I, please, I need some resolution
Go ahead, Ms. Hannah.
proposals. I'd like for the Board of Education that we
Is it old business?
No, actually, it'd be new business.
So there's nothing under old business.
Okay.
Let's take care of the new business item that is there, which is 18A, release of closed session minutes.
Oh, yeah.
It is recommended that the Board of Education approve and authorize the superintendent or her designee to release closed session minutes as listed below in the public content section, subject to prior legal review and redaction for continuing confidentiality considerations and the other stipulations set forth below.
I make a motion that we accept the recommendation as presented.
Motion by Ms. Hannah,
Second.
second by Mr. Riddle. Any comments or questions? All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item approved. All right, Ms. Hannah, you said you had a...
Yes, I would like the board and the district to do a resolution for Mrs. Verna Reyes. Mrs. Reyes, she kept our Medicaid documentation for years. And if we could do a resolution for her and her family. And also, we lost Arthur Brumfield. And Arthur Brumfield was here at the high school as a teacher. And he was a mathematician. And there's many young people that know Mr. Brumfield. They call him Mr. Brumfield. And so I am hoping that we can get resolutions for them. Okay? And that's all I have.
Thank you. And so I do apologize, Board of Ed, but part of the reason that I'm asking that things kind of be held over is not because we don't want to discuss them, but everybody is, I'm going to use the word, but chastise me about the length of our meetings. I don't think that has to do with me, but I will take it as the leader of this board in order to make sure that that's something, because it's not just about your time and trying to rush through the work of the board, but it really is so that the community and the staff can be engaged in these meetings and get something from it versus just a marathon. And so I, in that workshop on the 22nd, one of the things that we will address is what we want our meetings to look like, feel like, and if there need to be tweaks to how we do our agenda. And so the superintendent and I have been keeping the agendas light as we try and wrap up just what is the necessary work that needs to be done. As we already told you, May is action-packed with things that the staff is having to lift, but also work that the board has to do. So legal reports, Ms. Vanderbroek, do you have any?
No, thank you.
Thank you. And now we are at board member time. So I'm going to start with Ms. Gonzalez.
Well, I'll try to keep it short. I want to say happy late Mother's Day to all our mothers of all kinds. Hope y'all had a good weekend. And happy almost Eid al-Fitr for our students who celebrate Eid. And just reiterating how appreciative I am of the district and our vaccination efforts. It means a lot to our community, and I see that. I see it on social media all the time. And I'm excited for graduation. I'm really, really happy that we get to celebrate in this way. I know students have had a really, really hard year. And even for the students who haven't been able to say that they're going to graduate this week, know that, it's important that you finish and that you will. That's it.
McBride.
The resolutions that Ms. Hannah spoke about, I know, Nick, I think you the one generally do the resolutions, but Mr. Brunksfield funeral is on the 22nd. And the young lady that worked in special ed department, the secretary, I'm not sure when her homegoing is, but you might want to, if you're going to do those resolutions, you might want to see when hers is, because it might be coming up quick on you, so you may not want to miss it. But I know Mr. Brunkfield's is on the 22nd of this month. That's all I have.
Right. Ms. Leguizamo?
Thank you, Board President. I just wanted to thank everyone for hanging in there with us here in person and online, and just want to wish everyone a good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Leguizamo. Mr. Riddle?
Yes, I just want to say thank you very much to Mr. Alajakis and everyone in the district, as he mentioned, who has been instrumental in getting this COVID testing, not testing, but vaccination done. I just think that's really, really important. And I'm pleased to see that we're continuing to move forward with that venture. I think it's going to help us immensely to be able to bring our students back in as everyone wants this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Riddle. Ms. Hannah?
Yeah.
Yep, Ms. Hannah, it's up to you.
Okay, I just want to know when are all the administrators reporting to their workplace for 5 days per week? And what is the process of the administration, time off, vacations, etc.? And seeing how everybody has had their shots and everything, that we should not be still working remotely without, and if we are working remotely, is there medical documentation? And so that's something that I'm asking the superintendent.
Do you want me to
And
respond to that?
we can talk about it.
Yeah, so the superintendent, if you want to provide.
I could just
any-
give a really brief summary. We will continue the 4-day work week with the 5-day. It's a deep cleanse. Yes, majority of us are vaccinated. However, not all of us are, or some of us have opted out. And though I may be vaccinated, does not mean that we cannot get COVID. I want to remind everyone, and we do not want to pass it on to other people until we feel that our district has made every effort, as we have been, to vaccinate our students, to vaccinate even our younger students as they become available, to keep our staff safe. So Fridays will still maintain remote. That does not mean our staff is not working. It is for deep cleansing of our facilities to ensure that we're in operation Monday through Thursday in our hybrid plan.
So one question, Superintendent. So are you all on a 4-day schedule?
We are on a 5-day schedule. However, on Friday, we work remotely.
Well, I thought that was, and I'm just totally being honest, okay? Call me airbrain, whatever. Okay, but I thought that when we approved that as a Board of Education, that we did that for our teachers. I didn't know, and I've been looking to find out where that was in our board docs, where we approved for the administration to be 4 days and 1 remote, and I can't find it.
Do you want to talk about that the board doesn't approve that?
Yeah, it wasn't approved by the board. That's the stance, and when they come back, and I support it, so I don't want to get into a very deep back and forth during board member time, but they are working 5 days. 1 day for sanitation, I think, is appropriate, and especially if teachers and students are working remote on that Friday as well. So that's a Brandon stance. If this requires further conversation, we can have it, but I wouldn't this evening, and I'm not one for forcing people to come in just to come in. I do think they should be held to the same standard as our staff that are reporting the buildings, right? And so they right now are on 4 days, and so I think that's a fair expectation. With that, I won't go into detail, but thank you to the Board of Education, thank you to the community and those who participated online. Appreciate you guys coming out and for the conversation, and I am looking forward to working with this board to, I'm sorry, Ms. Wozniak, address some very significant concerns that the board has been working on. And I don't want people to think that we haven't been doing anything, because as Mr. Riddle, Ms. Leguizamo, Mr. McBride, Ms. Hannah, and Ms. Wozniak can attest, there's been a lot of work over the last 2 years. The administration has done a Herculean effort along with our staff in the classrooms and in the buildings. And so I'm excited about where we can go as a Board of Education and what we can do over the next 2 years. I will give Ms. Wozniak the final word, and then I will close out the meeting.
I'd like to congratulate or give kudos to Jefferson Middle School, who came out this weekend and helped clean the beach up on Saturday morning. They did an excellent job, because I always go down there on Sunday mornings, and it was clean. And so that's exciting. Thank you to Mr. Scott for organizing his students. That's it.
Thank you. With that, I'd like a motion to adjourn. Motion by Ms. Riddle, second by Ms. Wozniak. There was a rush for the second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify with nay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.